Hello everyone and welcome to my room in New Jersey. I haven't filmed a video in this room in about 6 years, so this is really weird for me, but I thought I'd do this for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because I guess a few of you back in Scotland might be interested in what I get up to when I am stateside, since it is and still feels like very much another life. But also on top of that, the room that I come stay in when I'm here, it's kind of a time capsule. And it hasn't changed since I left it 6 years ago. So everything is essentially where I left it when I up and left for Scotland when I was 22. And you know, your personality changes so much over the course of your 20s. There are echoes of who I would become hidden in the details of this room. So I thought it would be really interesting to take myself around in addition to you guys in order to kind of sleuth it out and see who I was and who I eventually became. And I wanted to have a little bit of a video diary documenting what my room looked like once upon a time at a very different part of my life. It's a gorgeous room. It's way too big. I moved out right after we finished renovating the house, essentially, and I'm going to be very sad to lose it in a way. I think I'm ready to say goodbye to this chapter of my life since I don't really live here anymore. At the same time, it was a creative haven at one point. I have a lot of old sketchbooks in here that I keep in my cupboard that I won't be showing you. Maybe one day. But I will take you around the bookshelves and all the old nooks and crannies and old CDs that I used to have. So this should be really interesting for you and for me. So I think we're gonna switch to a little voiceover now. Hope that's okay with you. And go through the years. Let's get started.
My parents moved us to Union County, New Jersey in July 1999. We began renovating the house in 2007, and my room got abnormally large, mostly because the contractors screwed up and my brother got cheated. We bought this dresser set when I was 10 years old. That door sign with my name on it was from our very first apartment. These are the books that traveled with me on this stateside trip. And you might recognize this sweet guy from my Renaissance vlog. Basically, when I left, I took all of my favorite jewelry with me, and this is the mess I left behind. Moving on over, I'd say that my early bookshelf was full of mystery, Britannia, and fashion, with of course an element of gothic horror just peeking through. You might see some familiar obsessions here, some familiar titles. And this bookcase/desk used to be my mother's when she was a teenager. I inherited it. Extended edition of Lord of the Rings, anyone? Not enough Harry Potter and Narnia to knock your socks off. And then for some reason, when I was 19 years old, I became absolutely obsessed with German language musical theater on top of it all. So not just regular musical theater, German language. And I collected loads of bootlegs, which you would have seen in that corner there. I actually used to trade with people online for them. As far as Finland? Yeah, I've done that. Moving over to the fancy bookshelf. No, I have no idea why there's an old bottle of Coke there, but it looks cool. My undergraduate degree was actually in art history, which is why you see all these art books here. I became vaguely obsessed with the avant-garde when I was 20 years old, though. Pfft, standard, eh? And your usual vampires and ghosts within easy reach. Let's head on over to the other side of the room now. Over here, we've got some Venetian imagery, followed by a U2 poster I stole from my Uncle John's stash in the basement of my grandmother's house. Sorry. Yeah, that's David Tennant on the corkboard in the corner. By the way, 22-year-old me had not figured out just yet that Venice was overrated, but that Germany, on the other hand, definitely wasn't. Check these out. Instead of buying expensive posters, sometimes I would inkjet print my own posters and assemble them by myself. It was around the same time I got into a massive 80s obsession, which never actually ended. See wall as shown. Ah, there's Gaga. And next to the cheap piano that doesn't actually plug into any sort of PA, here's my chest. It's got a quilt on it that I made when I was in middle school. Big points to anyone who already knew that some of my favorite films on VHS were The Secret Garden, Little Women, Jungle to Jungle, The Parent Trap, and Fern Gully. Ah, Gone with the Wind, that too. And yes, here's proof that I did in fact study voice in university. I do honestly look at my walls sometimes now and feel so far removed, from the museum study books to the historic obsessions. And, I mean, everybody loves a good bit of Backstreet Boys and Avril Lavigne. And I do miss being a stage manager sometimes. But I do think there was a part of me that was dying to scream out loud and really be who I was, judging from this strange array of color and emo-ness. But, I don't know. I'm kind of glad that I got where I did. Even if the journey felt frowned about at the time. You know? I still managed to travel the world. Maybe the biggest clues to who I became are placed right near my door. There are 2 posters I made of Lacuna Coil, a metal band from Italy, and Franz Ferdinand, indie pop band from Glasgow, who affected me massively and my way of working as an artist to this day. But that's another story, and you might already know it.